Hello, welcome to the tactical setup. We'll be looking at Inter versus Napoli, title clash in Serie A, two teams fighting for the title. Let's go. And we'll just be looking at what happened in their previous game. It was a 1-1 draw. Inter set up as they always do in their 3-5-2, this time with Lautaro Martinez and Marcus Thuram up front. Obviously, they haven't been able to play these two all the time up front because of Thuram's injury and because they like to rotate a lot. They do have four strikers at the end of the day. This is typically how you see Inter progress their ball and their passing network. So they love to do a quick pass into the striker who lays off to one of the midfielders, allowing outside midfield runners and their wing backs to run into the space vacated. They love to stretch their midfields, and this back and through system has allowed them to exploit so much space and create so many chances, creating counter-attacking like situations from in possession. Napoli obviously uh, adopting a very rigid shape, outer possession shape, with their striker dropping deep, allowing to them just to retain the ball, denying the opposition as many chances and space as they can. Happy to just rotate the ball between their fullbacks and wingers and their right backs and midfielders. So not looking to really run in behind and penetrate, just looking to keep the ball and perhaps nick a set piece. And when looking at how the chances were created, so we look at the expected goals, 1.55 to Inter and only 0.69 to Napoli. However, this doesn't really tell the full picture. Just doesn't really paint the whole picture, as you can see in XG and open play, 0.57 to 0.11, an absolute dreary, drab, dire game. Mainly coming from set pieces. Obviously, 0.58 of Napoli's goals came from 0.58 of Napoli's XG came from set pieces, which is where they scored their goal. Most of Inter's XG came from a missed Hakan Çalhanoğlu penalty, which came after he scored Inter's first goal in the first half. So really a game of little chances, but a missed chance, really. As you can see, the shot map, Inter dominating the ball, but not really having many good XG chances, mostly pop shots from the edge of the box and from off angles. Looking at Inter this season, they've been close to Atalanta in terms of chances creating in the past few weeks, as Atalanta have had a massive dip. They've gone in the lead in terms of their ability to create chances. However, with Inter, it's mainly been their missed chances. Oh, and it does say Atalanta are top, but in terms of in key games, especially in the big games, their inability to convert their chances has been crucial in them not picking up the big points. They've been really unlucky, but also not good enough in front of goal in the big moments in those games. But their ability to create chances has been consistently amazing throughout the season. As you can see, they lead 92 big chances throughout the season. This, coupled with their excellent defensive record, which they've maintained throughout the seasons, changing goalkeeper basically every season and still maintaining a really good defensive record, having the second best defense in terms of XG conceded. They're just a really amazing defensive outfit to watch. Napoli, a better defensive output, with them just slightly topping the XG conceded this season. However, they do not create as many chances as the other big boys do. So 15 less XG than Inter created, and this is reflected in Inter almost having double the big chances Napoli have in this season, and this is crucial for Napoli, who don't create as many big chances. They have to score them, and so they've only missed 27. But that is half is what you expect, but they needs to be better, especially because they're not in a very good run of form. They need to be converting those chances, and as you can see, 5 penalties. And this is better reflected in the goal and shot creation. So as you can see, 4 of the top 20 all coming from Inter. They're incredible in their shot creating actions. As you can see, a lot further down is Napoli, and one of their main creators was Kvicha Kvaratskhelia, who's obviously gone to PSG. He's been really big in terms of maybe his numbers in terms of actual output. I think it's only 3 goals and 5 assists, but in terms of what he can offer, it's been huge. And the other big one is David Neres, who's obviously been injured. This has seen them switch from a 4-3-3 to a 3-5-2. Obviously, losing 2 wingers, Conte's had to adapt. Is obviously very obscure for him actually doing a 4-3-3 in the first place. But they were winning games, they were scoring goals, they were very good. However, losing 2 wingers, he's had to revert back to a 3-5-2. And as you can see, with Di Lorenzo and Oliveira in the top 15 in terms of defensive actions, they're very much relying on their defensive qualities to win them these games. And so when looking at just the head-to-head in terms of the game, Inter are looking to hopefully start with Marcus Thuram. Simone Inzaghi was not too confident in his ability to start. However, you never know. He's had plenty of time, and it'll be one of those late fitness tests to see whether he can start. Lautaro Martinez rested midweek in the 2-0 win against Lazio. He's going to be a really, 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 really important player in this game for Inter, because their build-up play, as you saw in the passing network for Inter, goes through him. If Lautaro Martinez can hold off one of Napoli's defenders, so with Napoli playing a 3 at the back, he's going to have a defender that can go tight 1v1 on him, whether this be Monjuro, Romani or Di Lorenzo. He's going to have someone on him at all times, especially when he goes deep to collect the ball and lay it off. So it's going to be really important that he's able to win those 1v1 duels. In terms of Napoli, Spinazzola has got to find a way to outsmart, outmuscle, outthink, do Dumfries 1-on-1, because crossing is going to be a big part in how Napoli are going to score goals. They've got Billing and McTominay, Lukaku, 3 huge big boys in the box. They need to be able to get their crosses off, and Spinazzola is probably their best in terms of out wide, crossing the box. He's 2-footed. He needs to be able to get past Denzel Dumfries, and Denzel Dumfries is just an absolute beast when it comes to defensive actions, in terms of defensive duels, also going forward, box and presence. But in terms of his defensive actions, he's just constant aerial duels, tackles one, fouls, blocks, interceptions. He's just Spinazzola is going to have a really, really, really tough time when it comes to him. And so when looking at their previous games, just touch on their previous games, Como inflicting a 2-1 defeat on Napoli. Napoli conceded a freak own goal. This can happen in any game, so we won't really be looking at that one. But this is the ideal picture that Napoli want to create. 5 players in the box, all of them pretty much over 6 foot. Spinazzola on the left, crossing in the ball. This is the picture that Napoli want to create. This is why they recruited Scott McTominay and Philip Billing, in addition to Romelu Lukaku. We're going to outpower you, out-physical you, out-muscle you in the box, and we're going to score. And we're going to bully you. We're going to bully you. And as you can see, again, Spinazzola crossing with McTominay and Anguissa. Runners in the box. They want to create runners in the box, get it out wide, get the crosses in. However, when progressing the ball throughout the pitch, they get very stuck, as Conte teams do, because they're very rigid. If the opposition team has a very coordinated press in their midfield, this can result in Napoli getting stuck, in circulating it throughout their defence. And so Como, as they create a box midfield with their striker, are able to do basically a 6-man targeted press across the pitch in terms of Napoli's defence and their midfield, and so they're able to really push the team back, which resulted in Napoli's right wing back having to dribble past their own centre back in terms of being able to recycle the ball across, because Como were able to create a real targeted press and stopping Napoli from easily being able to progress the ball up the pitch. And coincidentally, this resulted in Napoli conceded the second goal, which lost in the game. Como targeted press, midfielders back to goal, able to steal the ball and create 4 runners towards goal, resulting in a 2-1 win. When it comes to Inter, their half spaces, wide half spaces, they're absolutely brilliant in terms of creating overloads in wide half spaces with their strikers, left centre midfielders, left centre backs, and left wing backs. They're able to create usually 4 or 3 overloads in the wide half spaces, allowing them to get runners into the box, crosses, cutbacks. They're absolutely brilliant in creating these overloads, and this is the picture that they want to create. And when talking about Arturo Martinez, the passing networks and his importance, the back and through is so important in terms of how Inter quickly progress up the pitch. Quick pass either from their centre midfielder or their centre back into the striker. He lays it off, and the leaving midfielder finds runners. This allows their wing backs to stay really high and wide, essentially operating as wingers. However, if the opposition team can press and win the ball back when the pass goes into the striker, they're able to create essentially so much, exploit the space that Inter create for themselves, because they gamble, they stretch their own midfield, hoping to get runners in behind, but if they lose the ball, they've essentially got 5 opposition players running at their defence. And so this is what you saw in the Lazio game, with as many as 5 players running at Inter centre backs, and this happened multiple times throughout the game. And so Napoli, with a rigid structure, are going to be looking to target Inter when they try to stretch their midfield. If they can receive the back, they can have as many as 5 runners running at Inter's defence, which is exactly the types of scenarios they want to create. However, when looking at just the game overall, I do expect Inter to win, even though they're away. They're a better team. I fully expect Napoli to limit them as much as possible. However, I think Inter are a better team, even though they're coming off a midweek game. I feel that they have far better technical players, especially in the midfield. Çalhanoğlu is just a beauty to watch when he's dictating the tempo of the game. And I think that if Thuram is available, his ability to stretch the game, out physical defenders one-on-one, he could be a real handful. And I think that it may be a 2-1 win, but Napoli seriously need to win this game if they want to win the title. They've not been good enough recently, and they really need to win this game. Inter maybe can get away with the draw. However, they are on the lesser of two evils side of the group of the knockout stages of the Champions League. However, I mean, they should have beaten Atletico Madrid last season. I don't know how they didn't. Inter are good enough and have the squad depth to compete in the Champions League, and so they need to really create a buffer if they want to get as far as in that competition as possible. If they're not, they can focus on the league, but they really do need to win this game. It's a must win for both teams. I expect a 2-1 win to Inter, but it should be a really, really good game. Thanks for watching.